said, like the best moments are fully, this is Tolkien's baby through and through, movie and books. And Peter Jackson does such a good job of respecting that. And the best scenes are fully pulled from pages of the books, even if they're not in the exact placement that they were in the books. They're full lines from the books that are just amazing.
And just to speak on that for a second, because obviously the books get sometimes there's like a joke surrounding it, how Tolkien describes every little blade of grass. And no doubt he's obviously a very descriptive writer. But it's really worth saying that narrative aside, plot aside, character arcs, descriptions, it's the actual word choices, I don't know if that's a word.
Word choices.
But his prose, yeah, there you go. His prose, it's unbelievable. Like it is truly, if not the best, one of the best written books I've ever read. Like just by the prose.
No,
Every word
agree.
is the right word. Sometimes, like oftentimes, especially when I was younger, but even now, I'm looking up words, what they mean, but it doesn't feel like it's pretentious. You know, it's like, no, this is exactly the right word. You could have used any other word that would have got the point across. But like, I'm not, I don't want to be hyperbolic when I say that almost every word choice, down to like the most minute one, seems like it was chosen specifically. Like some sentences just flow like it's a piece of poetry. Like it's not rhyme, but just the syllables and the beats and the alliterations. But it never feels like it's overdone. So that's why I don't mind like the descriptive aspects, because it draws you in. But then also you're just kind of, it's like a saga, like an old poem or something.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I completely agree. Like the way that he has so thoughtfully chosen every word. And, you know, this does even boil down to some of those descriptions that can, even to the most ardent fan, feel pretty long, not long-winded, but lengthy, where you're just like, okay, I'm ready to get to some of the action. It's all well thought out. I mean, he took years and years to write this. So
Like
I'm sure
five
he
to
did
10.
rewrite several times, you know, to get those exact right words. But it is some of the most beautiful writing I've certainly ever read. And I mean,
It's
I'm not
astounding.
I'm not going to profess to have read every amazing literary book out there, but it's amazing. And it draws you right in. I cannot stop reading it. I've been burning through the books in this most recent
You've been
reread
chilling.
because I can't stop. I'll like book my calendar so it looks like I'm in a meeting, and I've just spent an hour reading Lord of the Rings. Like I've been falling asleep with it, just like lying beside me. It's just really compelling, and it's really hard to get out of. And so that's why it's such an amazing material source for anyone that wants to create content around it, that you know, it just lends itself so well to inspiring other works. And you know, let's not even talk about Rings of Power, because I know we have
No,
feelings, but
our
the
fellowship.
Lord of but the Lord of the Rings and the Fellowship specifically had this source material to create something epic on screen too. And so that's why we keep going back to this. Some of those best quotes, arguably
Yeah,
all best
exactly. I
quotes,
mean, the
are
whole
directly
fantasy
from the book.
genre. Sorry, the whole fantasy genre is you basically owe it to Tolkien. I mean, like Dungeons and Dragons. It's just like the idea of a ranger, like or elves being tall. Like I don't know all of the I know like dwarves and elves obviously existed in folklore and mythologies, but how we perceive them, it's all Tolkien. So no, and you're absolutely right how you just do get sucked in when you're reading it, because the chapters are very long. And oftentimes when I'm reading a book, I will skip ahead, not skip ahead like reading, but I'll flip the pages just to see when the chapter ends, because it's like, okay, I'm going to stop after this chapter.
Right.
But in the Lord of the Rings, even though the chapters are very long, you don't really notice it. Like the Council of Elrond is just a lore dump. But it doesn't feel like it's long in the tooth, but like that's you have to truck through that. But it's incredible. Like you get things that are relevant, but not too much. Like by the time you're halfway through the book, you've forgotten about what's going on with the dwarves, but you get a whole like
Right.
30 pages of Gimli and what happened with Balin on his journey to Moria. It really just sucks you in for content that might seem dry at face value. It's crazy.
I
I don't
think,
know.
I read it on my Kindle, so it will tell me how many hours I have or how many minutes left in a chapter. The Council of Elrond, I think, was just over an hour, and I chewed
Yeah, you're a
through it
speed
in one
reader.
sitting. I'm not a speed reader. I read and I retain. But yes, I can read relatively quickly, and I had to finish it. There's no just going to put this down and stop halfway through this. Like, you are getting so much lore and content that speaks to not just this current journey, but what's so impressive is there's this whole history of Middle Earth, and you get so sucked in that you want to know it. I mean, I feel like I know elements of this history better than my own in some cases, which is so humiliating to admit, but it's just the way he's telling the story. Like, you want to know what's happening. And the Council of Elrond, you know, they have to go through it quickly in the movies, and I totally get it. And I think they do it really well. And I mean, you certainly don't in the books get that amazing moment of, you have my sword and my axe and my bow. I totally messed up the order there. But, you know, the movies have that gravitas to it.